You are your emotional state, part four. All right, we're getting into it. Um, so we've discussed the lower human emotions. Let's recap those briefly. Shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, resentment, jealousy, pride. They didn't leave out much, huh? And we want to know when these and other similar emotions, these are the main ones, are coursing through us because they're painful and they make us do and say dumb things. When I'm angry, I do dumb things. If I'm shamed, if somebody has shamed me, that I really have to look and say that person shamed me. They're willing to dredge up something from my past, something I may have shared with them, and say, look, don't tell anybody, but however, this is what I did. And here they are bringing that up at a party or at some, in front of my parents or in front of my whatever. Here's someone I thought I could confide in, and they're shaming me, describing something from my past, and I told them to stay quiet about it. Have you ever had that happen? Of course you have. To be a human being is to have that happen. It happens to all of us. Just look back. It doesn't take long. You confided in someone with something, and they couldn't keep their mouths shut about it. But the let me fast forward on that, and that's to say that just like the Christ, how everyone betrayed him. Remember, he told Peter, "You will deny me 6 times before the rooster crows." Like 6 times between now, nighttime, and when the sun comes up tomorrow morning, you will be approached by Roman soldiers and different people looking for me, asking if if you were part of my group, and you will deny me. And Peter was apparently one of his most ardent followers. And Christ knew human nature, and he saw right through him, just like you and I can see through saran wrap. The Christ knew human nature. He knew it because he first knew himself. You will deny me 6 times before the rooster crows. He knew it. He knew that's how people are. And that's what happened. And in that exact same vein, you're going to be betrayed also. Everyone you know right now, they will betray you. I don't care who they are. They will betray you. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you the facts about human nature. That's how it is. Your husband, your wife, your spouse, not that there's any difference in that, but that love relationship you have right now, you were so eager to get, that best friend, your 4 best friends, your kids, your parents, everyone you know is going to turn their back on you. And it's not too early, and you're not too young to hear that. That's a truth. If you're going to wake up, you have to experience everything that the Christ did. And I'm not saying you're going to be crucified, tortured, arrested, or any of that. But I'm just saying the psychological, emotional betrayals that he experienced, you will also. That's what it takes. I'm not saying be paranoid and be looking out for all these things, but if you want to wake up, and hopefully you do, if you want to awaken from psychological slumber, emotional slumber, you will experience betrayal from people you never, ever thought would betray you. Sometime between now and your physical death in this lifetime, which there's something else you never want to look at either. Keep your mortality in front of you. One day, remember scripture says, one day your life will be required of you, right? Remember the farmer? He had the silo filled with grain and he was holding on to it. The people were starving, but he wouldn't sell it. He wanted the price to go up. He was a shrewd businessman. And I forget the rest of it, but something came to him and said something like, "You fool, don't you realize that your life will be required of you tonight?" He died or was going to die that evening, that night, go to bed and never wake up. And there goes all his grain. So he's holding something for the future, but reality is saying, you're a fool. You should sell this grain now because your time on this planet, on this plane, is finite. My time is finite. Keep your mortality in front of you. And that will give you a right jolt to where you say, oh yeah, that's right. That's why people go to funerals and they cry. You're not crying for that person. You're crying for yourself. And it's a shock. You're like, my God, that one hit pretty close to home. When one of your parents goes, or a sibling, or a relative, or a best friend, and you go to the funeral and you're like, wow, I forgot. I've been running around making money, living my life, what I call my life, right? And it's a shock. You get the text, the phone call, the letter, whatever. Oh, Joe Smith. Jack, did you hear about Joe Smith? No, what happened? Oh, he's gone. It's a shock. My older sister died. It's a shock. It's just like, that's not supposed to happen. And then, funerals. People go to a funeral and they cry. Well, get used to it. Keep your mortality in front of you. You are finite. Your time on this planet, in this lifetime, in this incarnation is finite. Unless you wake up this time around, you're coming back. You really want to come back to this planet? I don't think it's too early for us to get into that either, but that's what's going to happen. I know certain people of a certain religious background and they're like, oh, that's not true at all. But all you have to do is learn, let's just call it ancient Eastern philosophy, spiritual knowledge. And it's right there. This is not your first time incarnating onto this planet. This is not your first time here. If you can hear this message, you have an older soul. You have an old soul as opposed to a newer one. And you can spot the newer ones. All you need to do is leave home and go out, and you'll see them all day long. The newer souls, the people who are in love with this world, they're the new souls. They need our help also. But they can't hear this. If you can hear this, I'll bet my bottom dollar you're an older soul, because it doesn't have to, but it just takes a long time for a human being to finally hear what they need to do. So I'm telling you, this is fascinating. The deeper you dig into this, the more fascinating. You're just going to go, my God, I can't believe all of this was right in front of me. All of this was right here with me all this time, and I just couldn't see it. I just couldn't hear it. I was just too distracted. I was just too frozen. I personally, I used to be frozen. I was frozen with fear. I was frozen. I liked people, and I could kind of play the role of being friendly and all that. but inside I was frozen. I couldn't be me. I couldn't be real. I was still. I remember, you ever, and I think the old people used to do this, but like there would be, like they would say, well, there's beef pot roast on special at the grocery store. So they'd go and they'd buy one. They'd buy one, put it in the crock pot, and then they'd buy two. They'd put one in the freezer. They go, well, we're going to freeze that for later. Then a couple of weeks later, and hopefully not like 10 years later, they pull it out, thaw it out, and then you eat the second one. When you have a family to feed, that's the kind of thing you do. That was me. I was like that frozen piece of meat in the deep freeze, frozen solid, as hard as a bowling ball inside of me, if not more hard. I was frozen. I literally could barely speak. I could speak like to people I knew, but if it was like a new situation, go out and get a job somewhere, I was like, I remember all that because I didn't know self, because I was emotionally stuck on a certain level. So we touched on the lower emotions in the last couple of talks. Now we're going to go higher. Courage is the medium. Courage is like 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. The sky has been black for hours, but you look in the east and there's just that tiny little faint, tiny little pink, that little slight little change in color. It's no longer pitch black, but that early morning sky, here the sun's just the first rays are first starting to come up. That's a great time to be out fishing, right? You go out early, get out there, get ready, eat breakfast, get out early. Those fish are hungry too. Get up before they're up and get out there, and here comes the sun, and cast a line. That's a great time to catch a fish. The water's still, quiet, glassy, like an oily surface. Very, very pleasant time of day. We're talking about dawn, and that's what could and hopefully is happening to you inside of you right now as you learn how to self-observe. You are experiencing, if you so choose, if you're into it, a dawning. It's like a new dawn happening inside of you. And that light inside of you, it's been there forever. It just needs to, like a campfire, the embers are there from last night. So you kind of, in the morning, there's a couple embers, you gently blow on them, and you put a little kindling on there. You wrap up some newspaper, whatever you got, paper bag, whatever. Put some kindling on there, get that fire going. That's what could be happening to you right now. Hopefully it is, just because of the sheer fact that we've been studying this. And if you're returning, if this is more than your first talk, if this is your second, third, fourth, fifth, or maybe eighth or ninth, I think this is talk number 9, then fantastic. You are availing yourself of this. So courage is when things change. The lower, dark, painful emotions are behind you. And here come the good ones. Because what happens with courage is you finally get the courage to move forward, to try something different, to change. I'm willing to change. My way is no good. My way is painful. I am willing to try anything to get out of this pain. How about that? To end this psychological, emotional pain, I'm willing to try anything. If I have to walk 50 miles for a hint of something new, I'll do it. You're right. You're finally at that point. if you if you've ever sat by a campfire and you've heard it crack, snap, pop, an ember will. You ever notice maybe an ember popped off a crackling campfire and maybe that ember landed? I remember my friend Doug, he had on a dark blue North Face windbreaker and the ember hit him right in the shoulder. And I saw it because he couldn't see it because it's down here on him. And I'm like, first I'm, trying to blow that thing off, but it was burning into the nylon. And, it's orange, dark orange, reddish in the middle of that ember. And then the outside of it's black and then gray on the very outside. It's just burning a hole into his nylon. And I start blowing on it first, and then I start like with my hand, hey, get that thing off. Because everybody heard the pop, but the ember landed on Doug. Get that thing off. So if let's say you were sitting by that exact same campfire, whatever, you're out at a barbecue campfire, whatever, and an ember pops, let's say you're at the beach and you're young and you're in shape and you're out there, you've been sitting in the sun all day, and an ember pops and it gets on your bare skin. It's on the top of your thigh, or it's on your chest, or it's on your arm. You're going to do everything you can to get that ember off, right? That thing it's burning you, and it's going to start burning you a lot worse as it digs into your flesh. You're going to do everything you can to get rid of that ember, to shake that thing off. If you were strapped into that chair and you couldn't move your hands or arms, you would do everything you had to do to your physical body to get that ember off you. Get it off me, whatever. With that same intensity, if you want to wake up, you need that same level of intensity to wake up. We talked about enthusiasm last time. The state of being with God, enthusiasm. The state of being with God. You want to get rightly enthusiastic about this work. You want to say, these lower emotions, this anger is killing me. This resentment is killing me. This jealousy is killing me. I have a sibling who's out in the world making millions and millions of dollars, and I'm not. Or I have a sibling and she's getting married and I want to get married and have my family too. How come I can't have what she has? I hear this from people all the time. Those are lower emotions. Do not entertain them. Observe yourself so you'll depart the level of the lower emotions. Okay? You won't be there anymore. You won't need them. So here we are. Courage. Here they are. Neutrality. I'm neutral. I'm going to dare to not have an opinion on something. Neutrality. I never knew neutrality is an emotion, but it is. Neutrality. I'm going to be with a group of people and I'm going to dare to not have an opinion on something. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and observe myself. I'm going to experience the emotion of being neutral, letting things happen the way they happen. Just take life as it comes. That's an emotion. I never knew that until this was explained to me. The human emotions are amazing. Once you get out of the nasty ones, the painful ones, you start experiencing the pleasing ones, the pleasant ones. And you realize, you're like, my God, smack the palm to the forehead. Doesn't Homer Simpson do that? My God, I've wasted my life being a numbskull. I didn't have to do any of that. I didn't have to suffer as much as I've suffered. But it's okay, because a slow learner is better than a no learner. If you're slowly learning, fantastic. That's great. You're learning. That's all that matters. I'm learning something. Unbelievable. So keep going with this. Courage, neutrality. I'm just going to dare to not have an opinion about something. I'm going to be neutral. Switzerland during World War II, neutral. They had too much to lose. They're like, well, we're not going to take sides. You guys do what you got to do. We're nestled. We're here nestled among the Alps. We're going to be neutral. I mean, what a great position to take. Neutral. We don't care. Just we're going to live our life. You want to fight? Go fight. You'll kill yourselves fighting. Families that fight, the spouses. What's the old joke? Don't go to bed angry, stay up and fight. You're going to waste your life fighting? That's like we said in the last talk or 2 talks ago. People marching in the street. You're lost. You're going to waste your life marching in the streets? Are you nuts? Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that to yourself? It's like there's this I won't name the name, but there's a rock and roll band that I've been following my whole life. I mean, the music they created has been the soundtrack to my life. Decades. Right? You have music like that. You're like, that's the soundtrack to my life. And the guitarist, he wrote in his book about the lead singer. He said, I don't know why you do this to yourself. Because the lead singer is well known for just, getting involved with more women than he should. And the guitarist, who's kind of more grounded, he just said, I don't know why you treat yourself like this. Why do you go out with so many women? You can kind of understand it for someone who's young, but after a while, anyway, I don't want to get into any of that, but it's that kind of thing. Why go back to the old emotions, the lower emotions, painful emotions, if you don't have to? Why spend another second down there in hell? You want to know what hell is? That's hell. That's psychological, emotional hell, is wasting your life in shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, resentment, jealousy, pride, arrogance. You're wasting your life being arrogant. Even God is not arrogant. Why are you being arrogant? What have you created? You ever known an arrogant person? They're haughty. They're full of themselves. You're like, wow, you're pretty insecure, aren't you? That's all that is. You're the prideful man, woman, is just putting up a facade of what they think they should be, of what they think they should show the world, so that they themselves, inside the walls of that big phony castle, remain protected. An arrogant person, a haughty person, they're amp. They've put their amp up to 11, right? This amp goes to 11. Just turn it down. Put your amp on. How about a 4 or a 5? For some reason, they think their amp needs to be on 11. A little Spinal Tap reference. And hey, it's tough making a video these days without a Spinal Tap reference. But anywho, the emotions, these things are unbelievable. Courage, neutrality, willingness. I'm willing to try something new, something different, something I haven't done before. Willingness is an emotion. I never knew that. Acceptance. How about accepting the fact that, that I need to keep my mortality in front of me, that one day my life will be required of me. and this physical body's going to go. And what am I going to take with it? Nothing. I don't take anything with it. The only thing I take from this lifetime is an essence, is a spirit, a soul, if I have one. But just because I'm a human being with two legs walking around on this plane, on this planet, does not mean I have a soul. There are soulless, listen to this, there are soulless human beings who appear normal all over the place. This world is teeming with them. This world, the corporations, the governments, the religious organizations of this world are run by soulless men and women. How's that for a reality check? I'm not telling you to believe me. I'll just suggest you find out for yourself. Go do a psychological, emotional analysis of your average CEO, your average vice president. Find out how they got to that position. Huh? How about the word narcissist? Narcissism. How about the scale of narcissism, which we're going to get into? I mean, right now we're talking about emotions. This is our fourth video. We're going to have to do another one before we get through this, at least. And we're running long right now. Anyway, they're out there. So that fact of human nature is yet another reason why I can't tell you what to do. I would suggest, as a suggestion, if you've followed, if you're here now, if you're still with us, I would suggest you avail yourself of this, because that's another reason that you need to be alert and aware and discover who you are, so that you know self. And when you know self, you will also know other. So when one of these, let's just call them bad actors, crosses your path, you'll clock them. You'll clock them as well as I clock them from across the street. You'll see them coming. You'll know who they are. You'll know what they do. Your insight into human nature will become as clear as your insight into yourself. That qualifies you to become a student of higher nature. First, you learn the human nature, and that knowledge will become your qualification to become a student of the higher nature. I'll see you next time.